friends. How's everybody doing out there in virtual world? Hanging in there, I hope, and healthy. We're doing okay here too. Oh, I wanted to share another prayer practice with you. And today is going to be praying with your hands. I know a lot of people, sometimes, when we're in prayer, our mind starts to drift. We get distracted, we have trouble focusing, and sometimes doing things with your hands, having something to hold on to, can really be a help. So I had a message the other day from an old friend of mine that asked me to kind of put a video together because she thought it might be good for families to participate in this. So praying with your hands in this video is going to be praying with beads. So if you're from the Catholic tradition, this is old hat to you because you've probably been around rosaries for a long time, and how you pray with each bead in a Catholic rosary. So this is a traditional Catholic rosary. But I was brought up in the Episcopal tradition, and we never had rosary beads, at least that I knew about, until the late 80s, and I was involved in a women's group that introduced me to Anglican prayer beads. And we had a lady come in and show us. There was a priest during the 80s that developed a version for Anglicans, for Protestant people, and it looks very similar. This is the Anglican version of the prayer beads. It looks very similar to a rosary, but it's not quite. There are 7 beads in between the 4 instead of the 10, the traditional Catholic version. So I was quite impressed, and just holding on to a bead and saying a prayer, and with these particular ones, you kind of say the same thing 7 different times in a row, and it really starts to focus your mind and kind of push all of the distractions out. So I had a ministry for a very long time. It's been probably 10 years ago by now, that I was really involved in making these Anglican prayer beads, as well as some others, and I'll show you those in 1 minute. But so I was making these prayer beads shortly after, when my son was probably about 5. And he saw me making these, and I was making them in all sorts of colors and designs and wooden ones, and just to share. And I would develop prayers for them, and he just loved them. So he said, Mommy, can I have a set of those? And I said, well, sure you can, but they're special. This is what you pray. So the more I thought about it, the more I thought, we really need something that's a lot more simpler, something that a kid's version of these, So I got to thinking, and I pulled out a book that my daughter Rachel had in her Sunday school class, and I patterned it from this hand prayer book. And what I liked about this was that the hand prayer, you have a prayer that most of our prayers fall into these categories. So the thumb, is praise. I love you, God. And then the next finger is I'm sorry, God, confession. And then the next one is thank you, God, for thanksgiving. And then intercession and helping others. And then petition, helping myself. And then what I really liked about this hand prayer is she added a number 6, which is in the middle, which is your palm. And it says, I'm listening, God. And then you sit quietly with everything that you've said and wait for God to speak to you. So I took this as a model, and what I did with the beads was I just made a simple string of 6 beads. So to pattern after the prayer that the hand prayer. And I thought, this is a really easy version for the kids to hold on to one bead, and I made a prayer card up, and the first that if you start at the cross at the bottom, you either do the sign of the cross, so it's a great way to teach your kids that, or you make it simple, you do the sign of the cross, or you do the whole Lord's Prayer, whatever works for your child. And you go up each bead, and you do just like I told you about the hand prayer for each bead. And so I made a bunch of these for kids. Well, then I got a whole lot of feedback from adults that were saying, wow, this is a great way to pray, because I get lost in my prayers and it reminds me where I left off. So, so I took this design and I made up other prayer cards. So I added psalm verses, kind of the same design, but with a psalm verse. So I have prayer cards with psalm verses, and prayer cards for comfort and for healing. And one year we did the Relay for Life, prayers for hope and healing. And you can do these beads in the different colors for the different colors of cancer. So, it kind of took on a life of its own for a long time for me. And it was a lot of fun teaching people, how to make them, because I'm not a jewelry maker. For these, I used wire, but you can use anything. You can use yarn, you can use twine, anything that will go through the beads themselves. The last version that I did was, I did a string of 7. For Holy Week, and I made a prayer card up with the 7 last words of Christ, and that was really, really meaningful. And I will tell you, before we get too far into this, if you are interested in receiving a set of beads or a prayer card, this is a ministry for me, and it looks like it's one that's going to be kind of put back to life. Shoot me an email. I'm going to put my email address in the comments of this video so that you'll have a way to contact me, and let me know. I'll be happy to send them to you, to drop them off, around the Butler area. I can certainly just drop them on your porch anytime. I have a number of supplies to make tons and tons of prayer beads. So if you would like your own set, please let me know, and I can bring the prayer cards as well. The other thing too is that I will attach in the comments the simple prayer card that I made up for the easy version. So you'll have this if you choose to make your own. And I encourage people, take this out and do your own thing with it. It's great to come up with how your kids can pray together. These have been used for council meetings. From other pastors have borrowed this idea and made it part of their council meeting initiation for getting on with the meeting. So you can do whole lots of different things with wooden beads and glass beads. These are beautiful. So again, if you're interested in receiving a set, please let me know. It would be my pleasure to get them to you. The last thing I'm going to do is show you how you might want to put together a set with your kids at home, because we're all in this together. So instead of using the wire, I'm using yarn. So this brown yarn I started with, and so I start with this cross at the bottom. Now, this is just a starting point. So if you don't have a cross charm, I'm sure you can find something, something in that, maybe some old jewelry. I love to go to yard sales and stuff and see what kind of beads I can find to make into prayer beads. One of the honors that I had one year was a friend of mine, her grandmother had passed away, and she had me make prayer beads with the grandmother's pearls for all of the granddaughters, and it was it was wonderful. It was a beautiful way to remember her, and and to hold something that she had. So anyway, so use whatever you have as a starting point, a cross, something else. And now I'm using this needle here is a plastic canvas needle, but with kids, you can use plastic needles too if you have those. So then the first bead that I would put on would be what's called a spacer bead. And those are the ones that go in between the actual prayer beads. So I'm just putting on, I know you can't see this very well, but each one going, and they don't have to be color coordinated. Some of my favorite ones that I've made in the past have been multicolored and kind of crazy, because life gets crazy, and so sometimes our prayers do too. But again, this is a great way to come together, or by yourself, individuals, and do your prayers with some more focus. One of the funny parts that I heard as I was making the short set, as my husband came by one time, and he said, "So what are you doing?" And I kind of told him, the history of, oh, well, instead of making these, I'm making, these. And he says, "Oh, prayers for guys, short attention span." And I said, "Well, you can think of it that way, but and once you get to the end, so what you're going to do is you're going to find another charm of some sort. Now, I have these hearts that I got in bulk, but maybe you have something else, again, from some jewelry that broke, or something else that your kids might have that you want to end with. So you just put it on and knot it up through, and cut off your string, and there you have it, your own set of prayer beads. So thank you for taking the time to watch my prayer bead video, and I hope that this helps both you, your kids, whoever. And again, let me know if I can be of help in providing some beads for you, or some prayers. Have a great day.